All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another video. All right, y'all, so I just wanted to do a real quick video on this and get my thoughts on Mackenzie Dern and a recent interview she did. Well, this was a interview she did before the Amanda Lemos fight, right? It was right before the Amanda Lemos fight. And I know I touched on like some of the text in it a couple of weeks ago in a live stream where, you know, she was addressing the commentating of Joe Rogan and DC, you know, where they were talking about how she was swinging like a high school girl up in there, right? In the Jessica Andrade fight, right? And I talked a little bit about it, but, you know, sometimes you can only get so much out of the text, so I wanted to watch the full interview. It's like a 15-minute interview. And once you watch the interview, you can kind of, you know, read her tone. It's a little bit different because when you first read it, you're thinking, okay, she might be kind of salty or a little mad at the way they, you know, called her fight or criticized her or critiqued her in the fight. But, you know, like I always say, you know, look, I don't always agree with DC and Joe Rogan. Like 99% of the time I'm watching the fights on the low. But, you know, there is some truth in what they say sometimes. You know, they are experienced commentators and DC is a fighter, right? So with whatever they call in this situation as far as how she looks when, you know, she's just getting dominated in there, I mean, there's really no argument, right? There is a point where sometimes, you know, there's nothing else that can be said. You just have to look at it, take it for what it is and learn from it, you know, because I know that sometimes Joe Rogan, he'll go in there hyping up fighters. You know, sometimes it just seems like they're missing the call sometimes. But when you're looking at a certain fight like this, there's nothing you could miss. You know, there was nothing you could miss in this situation. And as far as like the words they use, you know, it's kind of like one of them situations like where what else can be said when you're not showing any technique at some point and it doesn't seem like you're doing your best in there. Like from what we've seen in the past, it's like what else can be said? You know, sometimes they're just like fans too. You know, we're looking at you at a high level in this particular fight or like an improving level. Like say, yeah, like when she mentioned the Angela Hill fight, when everything is just positive. You know, it's nothing but good words said about the Angela Hill fight. But when you see a fighter that was looking like that in their next performance just getting dropped over and over by somebody that isn't considered the best striker in the world, that just has a lot of power and that's been beaten over 10 times and has 10 ways to beat her, you know, there's a blueprint to beat this particular fighter that she was fighting like 10 times, you know, there's 10 blueprints to beat her, right? You know, it's like, okay, this is what you look like because we haven't seen Jessica Andrade look this good in years. And to make Jessica Andrade look that good, you know, you definitely have to regress. And yeah, Mackenzie Dern had regressed in that fight. So with what they were saying, there was a lot of truth to it. So yeah, after looking at the interview and listening to how she said, yes, she said she was a little embarrassed and cried a little bit, but I think that was more just about the truth coming out and just watching her performance, right? Because yeah, with what they were saying, I mean, there's nothing else that can be said that was positive about it. I mean, we could say the chin was good and, you know, she showed a lot of heart, but, you know, heart and chin don't win fights. You know, there has to be some skills there. That's why you didn't hear them question her chin or question her heart. They were questioning her skills. They said they looked like a high school girl tonight, and that's what they looked like. You know, that's what her skills looked like that night. I mean, this is what she had said in the interview if you missed it. When I heard the commentary, Joe Rogan and DC, I felt embarrassed. I felt bad. I was like, dang, how did I just fight Angela Hill in May with like the best performance? And now they're saying I look like a freaking high school girl and stuff like that. For me, they're the kind of critics that can influence a lot of people with what they say commentating. All right, so yeah, that's true. Like, you know, but there comes a point where you can't really just pick your words wisely. You know, you just have to call it for what it is because it still is entertainment and they still are being color commentators. And there's still going to be a point where you just have to tell that person what they're doing and tell it how it is. Like there's nothing technical about it. When all technique is thrown out the door and they're using these words, I mean, that's saying something about you at that point. It was like Eazy said in the live stream the other day, whenever Amanda Nunes was beating up Ronda Rousey, what else can Joe Rogan say at that point? She's getting lit up like a Christmas tree, right? It's not a brawl like, oh man, this is a barn burner. Oh, this is back and forth action. No, Amanda Nunes is lighting Ronda Rousey up. That's basically what it is, right? She getting lit up like a Christmas tree. The same way in this fight, this girl is swinging like a high school girl. She just running into punches because that's what it was. She was running into punches, you know? So it's not really that, you know, the commentators should have to pick their words carefully in this situation because there's really no other way to describe it. You know, it wasn't really like they were saying anything like very negative or harsh. they're just saying this is what your skill level was looking like at the time, because that's what it was. You know, you look better in the past. You look better in the past, and that's what they were gauging it off of. Like, you've improved in your striking over the past couple of years, but tonight you're just getting connected on by somebody that's considered as a one-dimensional puncher, right? So then she said, man, I can't believe what they said about me. I look like that. Then I started remembering, well, the same way they said good stuff about me, they said bad. It goes back and forth. It's their job to commentate no matter what. And she said that, just for the moment, just that first moment when I watched the fight, I was crying like, this is so embarrassing. So, yeah, I got to give Mackenzie Dern a lot of credit. Shout out to her, because I think that she learned from that, and her being embarrassed by it is a good thing. I'm glad that she said I cried and I was embarrassed by it, because to do better, you want to feel some hurt. You want to feel some type of pain there, or something just doesn't sit right with you. If something's not sitting right with you, that's a good sign, because that means you want to go out there and improve, and you want to be better, right? Or if somebody was saying this about your performance in that moment when you lost, that's going to help you to do better and say, okay, I don't want to feel like that again next time, right? Just like if you get embarrassed in anything in life, you want to avoid that happening again. Like, if you slip and fall in front of people, you're going to do everything in your power to not do that again, right? You're going to make sure you're watching your step, make sure you're not walking on wet floor, stepping over a crack or whatever, right? You're going to make sure that you don't do that again, because you remember how it felt the first time. So her taking the commentary for what it is, it should help her in the long run. But like I said before, this wouldn't have happened if, she stuck to those game plans that she was dealt out in the past, of just fighting off of a jab, using her reach, and, using her basic 1-2 and using angles. Because like I said, there's so many ways to beat Jessica Andrade. There were 3 more ways created in 2023 that if she would just follow those blueprints, she would have won. But she wanted to try to create her own at the time and find her own way, and she paid for it. She paid for it horribly, So hopefully she learns from that and she can move forward. But another thing I just wanted to say too, with Mackenzie Dern, actually accepting it for what it is, I think that'll help, because you've seen it in the past where fighters, they don't feel that embarrassment. They get mad at what a commentator says or what fans say, or people like us on YouTube say, like, oh, y'all don't get in there, y'all just couch commentators. No, we know, some of us know what it feels like, and just by watching it, you don't have to always fight, right? But people like that, when they don't feel that embarrassment, they feel that delusion that, oh, we did our best, or we did everything that we could. Sometimes that kind of blinds them from, that ego kind of blinds them from becoming a better fighter and, going back to the drawing board. But I think with what she's saying, it should be better and it should benefit her, because you see other fighters say, oh, man, like, I fought my heart out and I did this and that. Well, yeah, you fought your heart out. You showed heart, but you were still getting beaten up. You know why? Because you weren't using the skills. Like, yeah, you can have heart all day, but you need the skills. You see, like, Rogan and DC, they didn't question her chin or her heart. Nobody did. Like, even when I'm calling this thing, I'm not questioning her heart. I'm never saying, like, Dern's a coward, or, like, Dern's got a porcelain chin in there. I'm not saying anything like that. Oh, this girl, she's terrible to get beat up. Like, she's not durable at all. Look at her. She's a coward. No, you never hear that part, right? Because she's built for that. She is built for that. But there comes a point where you need to stop proving that. You need to go in there and show a level of skill. That's why you hear them saying, why is she looking like a high school girl in there tonight? Why is she swinging this wild and off balance? Why is she throwing like this, wild haymaker and just running in and serving her chin up to Jessica Andrade? This is not her. That's the best way to describe it, because when you look at her past fights, there was improvement. But tonight, it was just a totally different thing, And since then, this was before the Amanda Lemos fight. We gauge it off the Amanda Lemos fight too. We add that in there. Like, again, we can't question the heart or anything, but there were some improvements there. There was some improvements, not necessarily in the striking, but as far as taking advantage of, her opponent's opportunities, which she did say going into a Lemos fight she would do. So at least she did learn from that, like trying her best to capitalize off of mistakes. But as you can see, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And then, yeah, like, if she doesn't want to hear stuff like that again, You don't want to be embarrassed like that again. You got to build off of that. Got to build off of those things. You know, technique wise, there's a lot of things we say over here that she needs to be doing. But you know, I just think it comes down to her listening to her corner and stop fighting off her heart. And I think that's what she does a lot of the times, is just kind of fight off her heart. But, you know, your skills are always going to be in question. And, you know, commentators are going to start really putting you on blast if you don't improve in those right areas.